Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Business Spotlight. Uh, my name is Jonathan Federa. I am here with Cory Seawright of Mississippi Premier Inspections. Cory, what's going on, man?
Hey man, what's going on? Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it, bud.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's give everybody a little bit of background. How did you get into home inspections?
Well, that story, I tell that one quite frequently actually because everybody likes it. I know that. So we'll get into it. I'll give you the short of it here. So I worked for about 9 years, a large automotive manufacturer around our area. Worked my way through a couple ranks there and quickly found out that corporate America wasn't for me. So, um, and yeah, so going into the pandemic, we're all at lockdown, working from home, start to reflect. Am I happy? Turns out, no, I am not happy. So, I was like, what are we going to do? What am I going to do? I don't know. So I started watching some YouTube one night, and something comes across the algorithm, I guess. I don't know, something about home inspection. I was like, I could do that. I have a good base knowledge of what a home is and what's supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
I started looking into it, and I get on the state's website, and they offer everybody's birth dates for whatever reason. All licensed home inspectors offers their birth dates. I started looking at it, and 83% of these cats were within 3 years of retirement age.
Oh, wow.
So I put one and two together, and I was like, if I'm gonna go, this is the time to go. Establish your name, and then when these guys start retiring and falling off, you'll be well established. So
Nice.
that's the short of it, man.
There you go. Awesome. And I'm guessing you're primarily doing like new home purchases, correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. So give me like the top things people need to look out for because most people don't know. And if you haven't been through the process, right, this is what
Right.
at least I remember the first time I bought a house and I got the inspect. I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. So what are some of the first things people need to be aware of? People look at like best practices.
So that's the thing. You nailed it right there. You didn't know what in the world you were looking at.
Yeah.
Most people don't. They're average consumers. Us as a home inspector or as a real estate professional, we can become jaded to the whole process to where
Hmm.
we just automatically assume somebody knows what they're doing or whatever. So that was our goal as a company to never assume that. So we make sure everything is cut and dry. We do like videos and tons of pictures and stuff explaining why this is an issue and this and that. So that's a big thing. The consumer needs to know what type of inspector they are.
Yeah.
What fits best for you and your personality. So I always tell clients, somebody that's shopping around, they give me a call, they don't want to book right off the bat. I was like, that's cool. I like that because you need to figure out who is good for you.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. Of course, the obvious things, disclosures, man, those are very important from the sellers. Make sure they give you as much information as they possibly can about that property. Age of the roof, if they can offer it. Several different things, anything they've done to improve the property or whatever. So all critical things, and
So you're
just
saying verify everything.
absolutely, absolutely can't stress that enough.
And what are some of the things that you would say tell somebody, a buyer, they should absolutely steer clear of?
Absolutely steer clear of.
Because like I dealt with foundation issues, right? Those are not
Yeah.
cheap.
Well, unfortunately, in our line of work, we just present facts. It's black and white, man.
Okay.
So we can't coach you one way or the other. That would basically be professional suicide from based on who we get our referrals from, right? So,
Yeah, of course.
which is mostly real estate agents. But obviously, if there's significant foundational issues, stay away from that. Um, Make sure your inspector is capable of coming to the conclusion that there's foundational issues. Make sure that you're doing your research, looking at reviews and this and that. So, not just taking your your agent's word for, hey, this guy's good, because may not be. You never know. He might be the easy inspector, so to speak, in the area.
Got it. So what would you say are like best practices? Like what are things that they really need to drill down on, right? If you're a buyer and you get that report, like what are some things like walk us through that process? Like how should they be analyzing
So they should be analyzing. They should break it down, and we kind of help them with that. We label it as significant, moderate, or just a maintenance item, something they can handle themselves. So that's kind of how we break down our report. So I tell them that, and they can take things from there and kind of, you know, he says this is serious. Is this something I can deal with, live with for a bit, or do I need to ask for concessions
it? Yeah.
um, during this process? So.
Can you
But I
explain
try,
what a concession is for those that might not know?
yeah. So a concession or an addendum, however you want to say it, is basically if a home buyer, if things are found in the report and they go into contract to where it is contingent on the inspection report and the findings of the inspection, there can be some negotiating there, whether it be an allowance to get things fixed taken off of the price of the home, or the buyer agrees to take care of certain things. I will say on that option though, make sure you always have your inspector go back out and confirm things are done and done properly.
Hmm.
If they do take that route. A lot of times we're seeing in our area, it's not necessarily everywhere. In our area, there's a lot of allowances. So I always we don't do a lot of repair confirmations or anything like that. We do some, but
Yeah.
I always feel like trust but verify. Make sure, because if the home buyer is put in charge of getting things repaired,
Oh yeah.
you don't know if they're going to do it themselves.
Yeah. Calling
You
a family member.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uncle Bill.
Yeah.
It's all, and a lot of people have YouTube PhDs on DIY stuff, so you never know what you're going to get with that.
Yeah. I get it. So talk to us when you started up your business, like what were some of the biggest challenges, right, that you faced?
So the obvious one, I mean, any business startup is going to be a financial challenge. It's I think kind of more so for somebody that did it like I did, just basically jump ship straight into another thing. It's failure is not an option. You've got to make this work. So that's how I approached it. But there's always the financial struggle up front, trying to get your spot in the industry and nail down your little niche there. So there's always that financial thing struggle. You know, Honestly, that's the biggest one. There's always the financial struggle, trying to get things, and especially when you're hitting that expansion threshold
Yeah.
where you're needing to expand either whatever you're offering or hire somebody. That's a painful threshold to cross right there, because it's tighten the belt, you know do what you can, but do what you can with your cash, but don't deplete your cash flow completely. Don't, you know, and that's what you're for.
Yeah, here and there.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
looking back, right, what are some things you probably would have done differently?
Done different. I would have. I would have approached my marketing a little differently. Um, Not to get too deep off into that, but and it worked for me, so to speak. I approached the consumer first. I want to, and that's kind of my thing. I love to educate. I love to just work with, the client, the people. But business wise, it probably would have been a more wise decision to go after referral sources first.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can't complain where I'm at right now. So I mean, 2 years in and already, uh, we're in expansion phase number 2. So, I mean, it works somewhat. So, but I think it probably would have been a little bit easier or better if we would have approached our marketing towards referral sources out of the gate. And probably secondly, I would with a startup business, it's difficult to leverage any kind of financing. And when I was I've worked with you, Jonathan, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but for the listeners, it's just it's hard to leverage. But I will say, if there's a way, uh, this fella right here can
I'll
figure it
find it.
out.
I
That's right.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I mean, what I try to tell people is before they start, right? If you're going to start a business, and let's just say you have a steady income, you should be getting everything done first before you leave your job, right? You want your credit as strong as possible. You want to start your entity. You want to start building your business credit before day one. This is like day zero. Most people don't know until it's way too late. But it's one of those things where, hey, when's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. When's the next best time? Today, right? So you
Absolutely.
want to address those things. And what the best way to do it is take out a term loan, right? Once you form the entity, take out a term loan while you still have a job, leverage that income stream to get the financing.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have enough cash to hopefully get you through year one. You're already started setting everything up, so you're still working at your job. And then as soon as everything's in place and you have some jobs coming in, everything's set up and your systems are set up, it's much easier to make that cutover. The problem is, unless you've actually been down that road before, you don't know to do that. The average
Right.
person doesn't know to do that. And so you deal with every challenge under the sun in that first, year or two, which is why most businesses fail. Like that's
100%.
that's
It's
that's the
like
truth.
it's like our mutual friend Kevin Marin says, "Dig your well before you're thirsty." Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's true. You got to do that. All right. Now, so what was? Give me one of your like aha moments or breakthroughs, right? So you're operating your business. What allowed you to change gears and really start scaling?
This is going to sound very specific to your profession, but it really was one of my aha moments. Whenever, because I'll backstory just a little bit, not to take up too much time here, but I come from a hardcore cash is king family. Um, you know, cash is king.
Yep.
And I've heard it both ways. Cash is king and cash is trash. But I think there is a middle ground that is beautiful right there with business. Um, yes, I think lending is crazy if it's for frivolous things.
Yep.
But if it is freeing you up to expand while allowing you to still have your cash flow within the business, it's an absolutely beautiful thing and liberating thing
Yep.
as a business owner. When you're if you can borrow the money and it's not extremely expensive money,
Yep.
but there's the that was one of my aha moments right there.
Yep.
I think that was in some conversations with you, and I think we met at Blue Collar Millionaire Mastermind, and Chris Garrison was talking about some of the things there as well about leveraging other people's money, and that's one of his big conversation topics. So that was really one of my biggest aha moments.
Yeah, I mean, all money is a tool. People don't treat it like
That's it.
that. People don't use it like that. But money is a tool to help you grow, expand, and bring in more money, right? Money multiplies money if done correctly.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. What are some of the things that you think that you need to focus on in order to, grow over the next 6 to 12 months?
So I'm in a very volatile industry.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now, the housing market. My money's dependent on home sales, right? So, excuse me. I need to focus on expanding my offerings that can be standalone processes outside of that still fall in the niche of what I do inspecting, but a current homeowner that's not selling or buying could utilize us for. So that's what we're working on. And actually, I've been able to leverage financing or use financing to start to do that. So
There you
it's
go.
gonna up our average per inspection if they utilize these new things for add-ons to what would be just a traditional inspection.
Hmm.
So it's going to up our minimum price, or our average price rather. And these items can also stand as standalone services. So I'm very excited about that. And
Smart.
man, this money's already paying for itself.
That's the goal, right?
That's right.
But that's smart. A lot of people don't understand that. If you have a client base coming in regardless, right, and you want to grow, there's a couple things you could do, right? You can, one, find a way to get in more clients and more referral partners, or direct to consumer. Two, make each client more valuable. And how do you do that? Make yourself more valuable to each client,
Bingo.
right? And
Bingo.
what people shouldn't do, and this is a common mistake I see all the time, is they try to find a service that goes to a different client and just bolt that on.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, now your focus is divided, your focus is split, and
Yeah.
you're reeling basically.
Yeah, man. It's so important to niche down and to not chase every shiny object. Us as entrepreneurs, I mean, I've had this conversation with another person before. It's like, because I was thinking about jumping in on another business opportunity, and he kind of talked me down. He's like, focus on what you're doing.
Yeah,
Become so valuable in what you're doing right now. And this, any business owner can take this. Become so valuable in what you're doing right now, offer so much value that there is no other alternative
yeah.
to your service. So, and
Dude,
you can't do that when branching out 100 different directions. You have to put the blinders on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
100%, man. The niches are in the riches. The riches are in the
Hey,
niches.
I like it. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Is there anything else that you want to leave anybody with, like besides where to find you?
Well, can you hear me? Did I lose my mic?
Yep. No, you can. I got you.
Okay. I don't know. I just want to nail down on that last part we just went over there. Riches are in niches. That's great. I love that. And that's my thought process as well. Quit chasing shiny things here and there. You'll never, ever, ever become what you could be and
Yeah.
what you're currently doing if you chase every little rabbit trail. We've got
That's
to,
true.
as business owners, got to focus and got to nail down what we're doing and make that as great as we possibly can. Continuous improvement within those services. Nothing's ever perfect. It can always be better. So approach everything with that mindset, and I think the sky's the limit, honestly.
And I love it. And if somebody needs your services or wants to reach out and work with you, what's the best place to find you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Find me on Facebook. I'm on all socials. So yeah, just look up Cory Seawright or Mississippi Premier Inspections on Facebook. My Insta's linked to it on TikTok as well. We kind of keep that lighthearted, but yeah, it's look me up. I'll be glad to work with anybody, help anybody with anything, any advice I can offer. Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time and sharing a whole bunch of value. Guys, we'll see
Absolutely.
you on the next one. Thank you again, Cory.
Thanks, buddy.